Welcome students, today we will discuss biological membranes, their structure and important functions. The main objectives of today's lecture are to give a general idea about the biological membranes, explaining lipid bilayer and different structures formed from lipid bilayer, to give a precise account of phase transition of lipids, explaining different forms of transport across biological membrane, to give a general and thorough idea of ionophores and Ion's fixed law, explaining in brief the concept of membrane potential and water potential. To begin with, let us first of all discuss about the biological membranes. Biological membranes are composed of lipid, protein and carbohydrate that exist in a fluid state. All cells are generally separated from their surrounding environment by plasma membrane. In addition, the eukaryotic cells are compartmentalized by intracellular membranes that form the boundaries and internal structures of various organelles. For example, the nucleus and the mitochondria. Biological membranes are the structures that define and control the composition of the space that they enclose. These biological membranes are selectively permeable in nature, that is, their permeability properties ensure that specific molecules and ions readily enter the cell and waste products leave the cell, which means it monitors what materials enter and exit the cell. Moving on, let's now get to the detailed structure of biological membranes. The phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipids are fats. They are composed of two fatty acid tails and a phosphate head. The phosphate head are hydrophilic, whereas fatty acid tails are hydrophobic, meaning that phospholipids are amphipathic. When placed in water, the heads orientate themselves towards water molecules and tails away, meaning that phospholipids will form a layer above water if left. If phospholipid molecules are completely surrounded by water, they may form a bilayer. One layer is like a mirror image of the other. Before moving on to the other objectives, it is very important to discuss about the membrane structure and function. The plasma membrane. It is also called as fluid mosaic model, selectively permeable, double layer of phospholipids with embedded proteins. Phospholipids contain a hydrophilic head and a non-polar hydrophobic tail, which creates a barrier. Plasma membrane is embedded with cholesterol, which stiffens the membrane by connecting phospholipids. Glycolipids act as signal molecules, and glycoproteins have an attached chain of sugar, for example, antibodies. In brief, the main functions of the plasma membrane are as: it helps to isolate the cytoplasm from the external environment, regulate the exchange of substance, communicate with other cells, and helps in identification of cells. As we are aware now that the cell membrane is primarily composed of a mix of proteins and lipids. While lipids help to give membrane their flexibility, proteins monitor and maintains the cell's chemical climate and assists in the transfer of molecules across the membrane. Cell membrane lipids. Let us make this easy to understand by saying that phospholipids are a major component of cell membranes. Phospholipids form a lipid bilayer in which their hydrophilic head areas spontaneously arranged to face the aquacytosol and the extracellular fluid, while their hydrophobic tail areas face away from the cytosol and extracellular fluid. Cholesterol is another lipid component of animal cell membranes. Let us now discuss about cell membrane proteins. We spoke a little about the cell membrane and structure. We also discussed the lipid bilayer, that it is not smooth around the entire cell. You will also find thousands, millions of proteins throughout the cell membrane. Some are just on the inside of the cell and some on the outside. There are two types of proteins in the cell membrane: peripheral proteins and integral proteins. As you can guess from the name, integral membrane proteins are permanently connected to the cell membrane. They have large sections embedded in the hydrophobic middle layer of the membrane. Peripheral proteins are not bonded as strongly to the membrane. Integral proteins, or the proteins embedded in the membrane, serve different functions as channel proteins. They form small openings for molecules to diffuse through the plasma membrane. carrier proteins are the binding sites on protein surface grabs certain molecules and pulls them into the cell. They form gated channels. Receptor proteins, molecular triggers that set off cell responses such as release of hormones or opening of channel proteins. Cell recognition proteins, also called as ID tags, to identify cells to the body's immune system. Enzymatic proteins carry out metabolic reactions. Peripheral proteins too is very important. They are receptor proteins which help cells communicate with their external environment through the use of hormones, neurotransmitters, and other signaling molecules. Transport proteins such as globular proteins help in transport molecules across the cell membrane through facilitated diffusion. Glycoproteins have a carbohydrate chain attached to them. They are embedded in the cell membrane and help in cell communications and molecule transport across the membrane. Having understood the concept of biological membrane, nature of lipid bilayer, and membrane proteins, let us now talk about phase transition of lipids. A phase transition is the transformation of a thermodynamic system from one phase or state of matter to another one by heat transfer. The term is most commonly used to describe transitions between solid, liquid, and gaseous states of matter, and in rare cases, plasma. Lipid bilayers LB constitute the basic structures of biological membranes and are ubiquitous in living organisms. Lipids consist of a hydrophilic polar head group joined to a hydrophobic hydrocarbon chain. When embedded in water at sufficiently high concentration, lipids assemble in lamellar structure that break transitional symmetry and possesses various degrees of internal ordering, which in turn may affect the shape of the membrane itself. During a phase transition of a given medium, certain properties of the medium change, often discontinuously, as a result of the change of some external condition, such as temperature, pressure, or others. One of the important aspects of biological membranes is its function related to transport of materials. It can be understood well by discussing the transport across cell membrane. The selective permeability of biological membranes to small molecules allow the cell to control and maintain its internal composition. Only small, uncharged molecules can diffuse freely through phospholipid bilayer. Small, nonpolar molecules such as oxygen and carbon dioxide are soluble in the lipid bilayer and therefore can readily cross cell membranes. Small, uncharged polar molecules such as water also can diffuse through membranes, but larger uncharged polar molecules such as glucose cannot. Charged molecules such as ions are unable to diffuse through a phospholipid bilayer regardless of size. Even proton ions cannot cross a lipid bilayer by free diffusion, although ions and most polar molecules cannot diffuse across a lipid bilayer. Many such molecules such as glucose are able to cross cell membrane. These molecules pass across membranes through the action of specific transmembrane proteins, which acts as transporters. Such transport proteins determine the selective permeability of cell membranes and thus play a critical role in membrane function. They contain multiple membrane-spanning regions that form a passage through the lipid bilayer, allowing polar or charged molecules to cross the membrane through a protein pore without interacting with the hydrophobic fatty acid chains of the membrane phospholipids. There are two general classes of membrane transport proteins: channel proteins and carrier proteins. Channel proteins form open pores through the membrane, allowing the free passage of any molecule of the appropriate size. Ion channels, for example, allow the passage of inorganic ions such as sodium positive, potassium positive, calcium positive, and chlorine across the plasma membrane. In contrast to channel proteins, carrier proteins selectively bind and transport specific small molecules such as glucose. Rather than forming open channel, carrier proteins act like enzymes to facilitate the passage of specific molecules across the membrane. In particular, carrier proteins bind specific molecules and then undergo conformational changes that open channels through which the molecules can be transported, can pass across the membrane and be released on the other side. Let us now discuss the various mechanisms of transport across plasma membrane. Therein, we have passive transport, active transport, and osmosis. Passive transport. It is further subdivided into simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Simple diffusion. Diffusion across a cell membrane is a type of passive transport, or the transport across the cell membrane that does not require energy. Remember that the cell membrane is a phospholipid bilayer. Although the inside and the outside of the cell are both water-based, there is a hydrophobic region in the middle, and this is an important barrier to anything large, charged or hydrophilic molecules that are hydrophobic. Just like the hydrophobic region can pass through the cell membrane by simple diffusion. Therefore, simple diffusion is the unassisted passage of small, hydrophobic, non-polar molecules from higher concentration to a lower concentration. Facilitated diffusion. So, how do large, charged or hydrophilic molecules pass through the cell membrane if they cannot simply just diffuse in? Think of your friends come into your house. Under most circumstances, they will use a door. A package delivered at your residence would come through your door too, but it would need someone to carry it in. There are different types of passageways into the cell, just like there are different ways to get into your home, depending on whom or what you're trying to get through. Each method of the passage through the cell membrane might be useful to different molecules. In other words, we can say that facilitated diffusion is the passive transport that uses integral membrane proteins to help large, charged, hydrophilic, and polar molecules across a concentration gradient. Active transport. Active transport is the movement of molecules across a cell membrane from a region of their lower concentration to a region of their higher concentration in the direction against some gradient or other obstructing factor, often a concentration gradient. Unlike passive transport, which uses the kinetic energy and natural entropy of molecules moving down a gradient, active transport uses cellular energy to move them against a gradient, polar repulsion or other resistance. Active transport is usually associated with accumulating high concentrations of molecules that the cell needs, such as ions, glucose, and amino acids. If the process uses chemical energy, such as from adenosine triphosphate ATP, it is termed primary active transport. Secondary active transport involves the use of an electrochemical gradient. Examples of active transport includes the uptake of glucose in the intestines in humans and the uptake of mineral ions into root hair cells of the plants. The examples of active transport are sodium-potassium ATPase or sodium-potassium pump. The sodium-positive potassium positive ATPase is also called as the sodium-potassium pump because it pumps 3 sodium positive out of and 2 potassium positive into the cell in presence of hydrolysis of intracellular ATP. Ion gradient driven active transport. Cells of the intestinal epithelium take up dietary glucose by the sodium positive dependent symport. This process is an example of secondary active transport because sodium positive gradient in these cells is maintained by the sodium potassium ATPase. The sodium positive glucose transport system concentrates glucose inside the cell. Glucose is then transported into the capillaries through a passive mediated glucose uniport. Osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane according to the concentration gradient of water across the membrane, which is inversely proportional to the concentration of solutes. Let us switch over to the other objectives of today's lecture, colloidal solutions. Colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture in which particle size of substance is intermediate of true solution and suspension. that is between 1 to 1000 nanometer. For example, smoke from a fire is example of colloidal system in which tiny particles of the solid float in air. Just like true solutions, colloidal particles are small enough and cannot be seen through naked eye. They easily pass through the filter paper. But colloidal particles are big enough to be blocked by parchment membrane or animal membrane. A colloidal solution, sometimes also known as colloidal suspension, is a solution in which a material is evenly suspended in a liquid. There are three subclassifications of colloidal solutions: foams, emulsions, and solutions. Moving on, now let us discuss another aspect of our lecture, that is different structures formed from lipid bilayer. Micelles. Micelles are lipid molecules that arrange themselves in a spherical form in aqueous solution. The formation of a micelle is a response to the amphipathic nature of fatty acids, meaning that they contain both hydrophilic region, polar head groups, as well as hydrophobic region, the long hydrophobic chain. Micelles contain polar head groups that usually form the outside as a surface of micelle. They face to the water because they are polar. The hydrophobic tails are inside and away from the water since they are non-polar. Fatty acids from micelles usually have a single hydrocarbon chain as opposed to two hydrocarbon tails. This allows them to conform into a spherical shape for lesser steric hindrance within a fatty acid. Reverse micelles. In a non-polar solvent, it is the exposure of the hydrophilic head groups to the surrounding solvent that is energetically unfavorable, giving rise to a water in oil system. In this case, the hydrophilic groups are sequestered in the micelle core and the hydrophobic groups extending away from the center. These inverse micelles are proportionally less likely to form an increasing head group charge, since hydrophilic sequestration would create high unfavorable electrostatic interactions. Liposomes. Liposome is a spherical vesicle having at least one lipid bilayer. The liposome can be used as a vehicle for administration of nutrients and pharmaceutical drugs. Liposomes can be prepared by disrupting the biological membranes, such as by sonication. A liposome is a tiny bubble vesicle made out of same material as a cell membrane. Liposomes can be filled with drugs and used to deliver drugs for cancer and other diseases. Membranes are usually made of phospholipids, which are molecules that have a head group and a tail group. The head is attracted to water and the tail, which is made of a long hydrocarbon chain, is repelled by water. Ionophores. Ionophores are small hydrophobic molecules that dissolve in lipid bilayer and increase their permeability to specific inorganic ions. Most are synthesized by microorganisms, presumably as biological weapons against competitors or prey. They are widely used by cell biologists as tools to increase the ion permeability of membranes in studies on synthetic bilayers, cells, or cell organelles. There are two classes of ionophores: mobile ion carriers and channel formers. Valinomycins is an example of a mobile ion carrier. Let us now understand what is Fick's law. Fick's laws of diffusion describe diffusion and were derived by Adolf Fick in 1855. They can be used to solve for the diffusion coefficient D. Fick's first law can be used to derive his second law, which in turn is identical to the diffusion equation. The simplest description of diffusion is given by Fick's law as: the molar flux due to diffusion is proportional to the concentration gradient. The rate of change of concentration at a point in space is proportional to the second derivative of concentration with space. Fick's first law of diffusion states the rate of transfer of a gas through a sheet of tissue is proportional to the tissue area and the difference in the gas partial pressure between the two sides and inversely proportional to the tissue thickness. Volume of gas per unit time is equal to area divided by thickness multiplied by diffusion constant multiplied by partial pressure first minus partial pressure second. dV by dt is equal to A divided by T multiplied by D multiplied by P1 minus P2. Fick's second law of diffusion. Fick's second law of diffusion is a linear equation with the dependent variable being the concentration of the chemical species. Diffusion of each chemical species occurs independently. These properties make mass transport system described by Fick's second law easy to stimulate numerically. When modeling diffusion, it is often a good idea to begin with the assumptions that all diffusion coefficients are equal and independent of temperature, pressure, etc. Moving on in today's lecture, let us discuss in brief about the water potential. To comprehend plant-water relations, an understanding of certain standard terms is necessary. Water potential, psi W, is a concept fundamental to the understanding water movement. Solute potentials, psi S, and pressure potential, psi P, are the two main components that determine water potential. Water molecules possess kinetic energy. In liquid and gaseous form, they are in random motion that is both rapid and constant. The greater the concentration of water in a system, the greater is its kinetic energy or water potential. Hence, it is obvious that pure water will have the greatest water potential. If two systems containing water are in contact, random movement of water molecules will result in net movement of water molecules from the system with higher energy to the one with lower energy. Thus, water will move from the system containing water at higher water potential to the one having low water potential. The process of movement of substance down a gradient of free energy is called diffusion. Water potential is denoted by the Greek symbol psi and is expressed in pressure units such as Pascal, PA. Water potential of a cell is affected by both solute and pressure potential. The relationship between them is as follows. Psi W is equal to psi S plus psi P. Moving on, let us now talk about membrane potential. Membrane potential, also called as transmembrane potential or membrane voltage, is the difference in electrical potential between the interior and the exterior of a biological cell. With respect to the exterior of the cell, typical values of membrane potential range from -40 mV to -80 mV. Indoors, the temperature is regulated by a thermostat. For example, bugs and unwanted animals are kept out by screens, doors, and windows. Cells also want a regulated interior to escape the outside environment. The wall that separates a cell from the outside is called the plasma membrane. The membrane keeps unwanted molecules out and regulates what enters, but how? Cell membranes are made up of a variety of components. Each component has a specific purpose and function. One component of a cell membrane is called the sodium Na positive, potassium K positive ATPase or sodium potassium pump. It may sound a little complicated, but the function is similar to what you think a pump does. Pumps can be used to remove water or add air. The sodium potassium pump kicks 3 sodium ions out of the cell while at the same time importing 2 potassium ions. So what does the cell do? The cell uses many of its membrane components, including the sodium potassium pump, to regulate ion concentration inside and outside the cell. The balance between molecule number and charge is known as electrochemical gradient. Cells actually prefer to be more negative inside. The difference between the concentration of molecules and charge inside and outside the cell is known as membrane potential. Students, with this we conclude our today's lecture. Hope you have enjoyed and understood it well. Thank you and goodbye.